It's 5:30 in the morning. A SWAT team breaks down the front door. Rifles, flashbangs, chaos. The woman inside, 68 years old. She lives alone. She's never broken the law. Her mistake? A Wi-Fi network the cops thought was hers. That's all it took. An IP address and a weak password. Here's the reality. Law enforcement treats your IP address like it's your fingerprint, even though it's not. And if your neighbor, a hacker, a random drive-by criminal hacks your Wi-Fi, the cops aren't going after them, they're coming for you. In this video, I'm going to break down number 1, exactly what to say and what to do to protect yourself from cops if they show up at your front door claiming you did something illegal on your Wi-Fi network. Number 2, I'm going to show you how to lock down your Wi-Fi network so cops aren't able to do this and other people aren't able to do anything illegal on your Wi-Fi network either. And then number 3, we're going to tie it all together to make sure you're not the next headline on the wrong house raid by the police. Because this isn't paranoia. This is police policy and you need to know about it before it comes to you. Let's start with reality. These stories I'm going to share with you, they're not hypotheticals. They're real homes, real cases, real trauma, and real mistakes by the police. Case number 1, Buffalo, New York. It's 6 a.m. FBI raids this man's home, pulls him out of his bed, claims he's been looking at inappropriate child content, and now he's being cuffed and arrested. He's now laying face down in front of his family. His crime? He didn't do anything. It was learned later his neighbor had hijacked his Wi-Fi and done all kinds of things that may have been illegal. No charges were filed, but it didn't save him from being shamed, arrested, having to hire a lawyer, and fight it in court. Case number 2, Evansville, Indiana. Louise Milan suddenly hears glass shatter. Flashbangs go off in her living room. She's 68 years old and she's innocent, but her IP address matched an online threat. Cops never took the time to check and see if her Wi-Fi was open. It was. Even though she brought a lawsuit against the police, she never got her peace of mind back. Case number 3, Seattle, Washington. David Robinson and Jan Boltman run a Tor exit node. Cops trace what they think is illegal traffic on their IP address and they raid their house at dawn. Now, they weren't the source. They were just the relay, but they were treated just like suspects. Okay, let's stop. I know what you're thinking. What is a Tor exit node? A Tor exit node is the final computer in a Tor network that connects your encrypted traffic to the internet. It's like the last hop before your internet request reaches the website you're visiting. Essentially, it decrypts your data and sends it to its destination, making your true IP address hidden from that website. And Tor networks are still being used daily by more than 6.75 million people. And police are very open about the fact they continue to monitor these exit nodes. So the risk, it's still very real. Finally, what about the case of the Kansas farm, where more than 600 million IP addresses were mapped to a single rural home? Strangers harassed these homeowners for years. Cops continued to show up and investigate them, all because of a GPS database glitch. And here's the twist. None of these people did anything wrong, but their routers became crime scenes and their homes became police battlegrounds. So let's break down how all of this works. Your IP address, it's not you. It's a breadcrumb, a rough GPS ping to your modem. That's it. But when cops get that ping, they assume it is you. Here's how it plays out with the cops. A supposed online crime occurs. Number 2, an IP address is logged by the police. Number 3, your internet service provider then gives your name to the police. And number 4, cops show up at your front door. No follow-up by the police. No checking for actual roommates, maybe open routers or shared devices. It's just you, center stage, because it's your IP address. Now, thankfully, some courts have started to push back. In the case of United States versus Vosburg, a judge ruled that an IP address alone should not be enough to justify a search warrant. The court made it clear, your IP address is not supposed to be your fingerprint. But in reality, law enforcement continues to treat it just like that. Let's say it this way. Cops trying to use your IP address to pin a crime on you is like blaming the mailbox for the contents of a letter. It makes no sense, yet it happens every day. So let's say cops think they have your IP address and they think you've done something wrong. Now, they can't exactly arrest you or investigate you just yet, but most people, they give cops what they want without even realizing it. If the cops don't have a warrant yet, this is where a police knock can turn into a catastrophic mistake. Let's break down the exact tactics cops are trained to use in this situation. Tactic number 1, the traditional old-fashioned knock and talk. Knock at your front door. A friendly voice on the other side. Mind if we come in? You know you've done nothing wrong, so you say yes. Unfortunately, that is now consent. Tactic number 2, the bluff. Let's say you're smart enough to know cops aren't coming to your front door just to have a conversation, so you decide to say, "No, officer, I do not consent to a search." They then turn around and bluff you and say, "If you don't let us in now, we'll be right back with a warrant." Translation, they don't have one. Remember, you always have a right to refuse consent to a search, and you do not have to answer any of the police officer's questions. Tactic number 3, consent by stealth. Let's say you did allow the officer to walk into your house, and now they're walking around, and without actually asking you directly, they walk over and just say, "Oh, okay, I just wanted to check out your router real quick." They don't ask your permission. You don't say no. The officer is going to claim because you didn't say no, you gave them permission. And finally, if you say no to everything the officers are claiming, they may pull out the old trick of the fake emergency. They might say, "We thought we heard screaming in the back there. We must come in under exigent circumstances," or "We have reason to believe that someone in this house might be deleting evidence." So let's break down exactly how to respond. Now, I want to pause and ask you, how do we really know if the news we are reading is unbiased and fair? With competing narratives, media bias, and big tech censorship, cutting through the noise to see what's really happening isn't always easy. Luckily, there is a solution. Ground News gives you the freedom to discover whether what you are reading is unbiased and fair so that you can come to your own conclusions. Isn't that what the news is supposed to be about? Check them out for yourself at ground.news/Hampton. Let's take the recent decision by the U.S. Department of Justice to abandon police reform settlements with Minneapolis and Louisville. Agreements that were initiated after the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. As we analyze the coverage, the top right displays key details: the number of sources reporting, their political bias distribution, reliability ratings, and ownership information. These insights help reveal how different outlets are shaping the narrative. One of the most powerful features of Ground News is the headline comparison. Here we can see for ourselves how stories are being framed by different news outlets. By clicking on the left, center, and right, we can observe the language and tone used, allowing us to draw our own conclusions. For instance, a left-leaning headline might focus on civil rights implications, while a right-leaning headline might emphasize federal overreach concerns. My favorite feature, though, is the blind spot feed. With Blind Spot, you can see news stories that are being disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. In our polarized environment, I have found this feature to be an amazing resource to discover news stories that I might have missed otherwise because only one side was talking about it. It's perfect for better understanding friends and family who think differently. The best part? Ground News has a special offer for all of my viewers. If you sign up through my link, you'll get 40% off the Vantage plan, the same plan I use to get unlimited access to all their features. Go to ground.news/Hampton to give it a try yourself. Click the link down in the description or scan the QR code to stay better informed and transform the way you read the news. If a police officer shows up at your front door, number one, always remember, if they don't have a warrant, you can refuse to answer the door at all. You have no obligation whatsoever, and in fact, you have a constitutional right to refuse any interaction. Because remember, your home is your castle. You're the most protected in your home under the Fourth Amendment. You don't even have to answer the front door. Now, if you do answer the front door and the officer starts looking at you, starts looking past you, and maybe they start asking if they can walk in, the first thing you can do is remember to say very specifically, "Officer, I'm not comfortable with this. I do not consent to a search." If the officer persists, say it again, and then say it on camera. Never assume the police officer's body camera footage will capture this. This is why it's so important to have your own home protection security system set up. And if you have your phone, you can record the interaction to show proof you never consented to the officer to enter your home. Finally, if the officer persists and forces their way in, even though you did not consent, at this point, don't resist, but do not cooperate, and do all that you can to record the entire interaction to show it was an illegal entry into your home. And if they had a warrant, You can count on it. They'll show it if you continue to say no. Where you live, though, changes everything. If you're in California, Illinois, or Utah, good news. Your state actually protects some of your digital privacy. That means police need a real warrant to snoop through your emails, pull your ISP logs, or track your location. But if you live in places like Wyoming, South Dakota, or Mississippi, and many other places, sorry, you're relying upon the old federal law. Let's break it down. The top tier states starts with California. Under Cal ECPA, it requires warrants for digital data by the police. Number 2 is Utah. It protects your biometric and device level data. And then Illinois and Virginia provide strong rules around deletion and data access by the police. The states with the weakest protections, Wyoming, Mississippi, and South Dakota. There's practically no digital safeguards. Here's why this is important. You should always act like you're in the worst state for protection, because if the police are at your front door knocking, they may not be checking your zip code before they look to try to protect and honor your rights. Let's do the play-by-play of what to tell the officer if you open your door and you're shocked and there he is asking you these questions. First, if you don't take my advice, what we talked about earlier, and just ignore the officer at the front door, the first thing to do is don't open the door fully, just barely crack or talk through the door and say, "Officers, how can I help you? Do you have a warrant?" If they say they have a warrant, ask to see it, either under the door or through the window to confirm whether or not it's an actual warrant. If they don't have a warrant, remember, I do not consent to any searches, I refuse to answer any questions, and I will not do anything without my lawyer present. Okay, so let's pause for a moment. I know what some of you are thinking. Is this really a big deal? I mean, my Wi-Fi has a password. My internet service provider would alert me if something weird was going on. Or maybe, hey, I use VPN. And the classic one, I'm not doing anything illegal, so I have nothing to worry about. Wrong and wrong. Here's why. Number 1, your password might just be default. Number 2, your internet service provider, they'll cooperate with subpoenas, not you. Number 3, one device in your network not protected, you're exposed. Number 4, innocent people get raided all the time. You just met a few. So let's make sure you're never the next IP address listed in a warrant affidavit. This is the part most people skip, but I know you won't. So I'm going to give you a quick 5-minute router audit so that you can protect yourself from the police and anyone else who might want to snoop around on your Wi-Fi. Open your browser, type 192.168.1.1. Log in with your router credentials. Change the admin password. Turn on WPA2 or WPA3 encryption. Rename your network. No names, no addresses. Disable the remote access. Set up a guest network for your visitors and check your connected devices once a week. Your router firmware updates, make sure you keep your router's firmware updated as updates often include security patches. Ensure that your router's firewall is enabled for an extra layer of security against unauthorized access. And MAC address filtering, consider using MAC address filtering to restrict network access to only approved devices. VPN. Using a VPN can actually encrypt your internet traffic and hide your IP address, adding another layer of security and privacy, especially when using public Wi-Fi. Boom! Now you're 10 times harder to target. These steps, they're not optional anymore if you're going to have Wi-Fi. This is your digital front door. It would be foolish for you to leave it unlocked. Now you're no longer low-hanging fruit for the police or anyone else. You now have a secure network. You know what to say and you know what not to say to the police. You're never going to be that person who is mistaken for a criminal because of their IP address. Oh, and that worst case story I mentioned earlier, that would unfortunately be Adam Green, 18 years old from New Jersey. His IP address was linked to an online threat, and he was hauled out by police at gunpoint. The real culprit? A classmate spoofed his IP address. Adam nearly lost his scholarship and his future all over something he didn't do. So what about you? Did you run the audit? What did you find for your own network? And by the way, I know we have some security experts on here. Please drop whatever information you have in the comments for anything that you know that can help further protect yourself from exactly this situation with the police or anyone else snooping around on your network. This is how we protect our digital homes. This is how we hold the line. But we've just covered how cops can actually snoop in and maybe even claim you did something illegal on your own network. But did you know cops also have the ability to see through walls to see what you're doing in your home? Check out this next video where I break down how to stop cops from seeing through walls to spy on your home. See you over there.